told you that every phone is not made equal? What if I told you that around 75% of phone flippers that buy this phone and try to resell it end up quitting in the first 6 months? What if I told you that you could prevent any of this from happening to you right now? All you have to know is which one is more valuable, a used phone or a new phone, and the answer might shock you. But I'll tell you this right now, phone flipping is not that complicated, it's not hard, and I'm someone that simplifies it for you, so make sure you guys subscribe. My name is Brandon. I've been phone flipping for over a decade. I have 4 phone stores, 1 wholesale warehouse, and I have flipped phones and made a successful business living and also giving people free game. So let's get into what phone you should actually be buying and why you should be staying away from a certain model. Now, to understand this, we got to first talk about the buyer, right? You have 2 different types. You got a wholesale buyer and then you have a consumer. Now, these are going to be different people that have different reasons for buying these devices. If you are somebody that is or looking to be a phone flipper, you know and probably have heard of consumer. You probably have heard of a wholesale buyer. 2 different type of people, 2 different reasons, and also 2 different use cases. So a wholesale buyer is going to be an individual that is buying a device based on what the market value is. They're not buying it to use it. They're not buying it because it's something that they find unique or they like it. They're buying it because it's going to make them money. Now, you have a consumer, and this is going to be the person that is buying this device usually to use it. And they're going to actually care about this. They're going to be more emotional. A wholesale buyer, they buy from logic. Somebody that is just buying a device to use is going to buy out of emotion. And a good example for this is the person that wants to use this phone or needs this phone for someone else is going to pay whatever they need to pay to get it. That's supply and demand. A wholesale buyer is not going to pay whatever they need to pay to get it. They're going to try and find that device at a price that they actually can afford to buy it so they can resell it. You could only imagine these are going to be 2 different people that act 2 different ways, and they are going to either be the win or the loss in the deals that you try and close. So understanding which type of person or people you are attacking is crucial, especially when we deep dive into if you want to be the one that's buying a used device or a new device. These buyers are going to prefer to have some type of need met. Now, wholesale buyer's need is going to be the need to be able to capitalize. Now, a consumer's need is going to be the need of being able to use this and being able to have it be reliable. Now, you would imagine a new phone does serve all of these, right? A new phone as a buyer, wholesale buyer, you can get this phone and sell it just like it's brand new as it is. But then you would say the consumer would also find this valuable because they could get the phone and it wouldn't have no problems. It's never used. It's predictable. But the problem is price. And when we talk about price, these 2 different type, used and new, have a completely different playing field. Right here, I'm actually in a price list, and I want to show you guys something before we deep dive into which one you should get. These are prices that buyers are paying for these new devices. So if we look at an iPhone 17 Pro Max, for a sealed, they're paying me $870. For activated, $770. But if I look on my other screen, I could see an invoice from a buyer that just paid a total of $890 for an iPhone 17 Pro Max. This is our phone flipping buyers price list. This price list basically is a price list where buyers are giving us a bottom price, but willing to offer up depending on competition. But it's interesting because if you were someone that had this phone and I told you that you could get $900 basically for it, you would bite on it, right? Well, let's compare it to a used. Well, the buyer used is only going to pay $730. And if I look on an invoice for a $730 iPhone 17 Pro Max, I actually can't find one. The buyer actually paid last $720 for this same iPhone 17 Pro Max 256. That is lower than what the estimated price is. But why? Well, I know we're talking about should you buy a new phone or a used phone, but there's actually something wholesale buyers and consumers also care about too, and they factor into both of these versions. Is the phone locked or unlocked? As you see, this is a invoice and a quote from a buyer. For an iPhone 16 Pro Max locked, they're paying $650. For an iPhone 16 Pro locked, $522. But then for an unlocked iPhone 16e, $200. But why is the iPhone that is unlocked only $200? Well, it's because it's a low grade phone. It's a lower version, right? Well, this is where we gotta start actually paying attention. When people are looking to buy phones, especially as consumers, you'll find that they want to buy a phone that they can afford, not a phone that's going to make them feel like they're shopping an Apple. Hence why, if you are trying to buy a device to resell, you want to buy a device that is lower than $500, and usually that's always going to be a used phone. That's why, in my opinion, a used phone is always going to take the cake home when it comes to which phones you should actually buy. See, a used phone could be locked or it could be unlocked, and it also is going to be affordable. While a newer device is either going to be locked or unlocked and cost a little bit more money. Why would you want to actually buy a new device though? Well, if you're buying a new device, it's going to be a device that has a good battery health, obviously, because it hasn't been used, but also it's going to have less of a gap when it comes to security. The person, whether it's a wholesale buyer or a consumer, will always know or feel like this is a device they can depend on, brand new, fresh start. Problem is, it's gonna cost you more money up front, and you're not gonna make as much profit. Not just that. See, what I'm saying is something you probably already knew. But what if I told you a different perspective people don't really think about? Well, see, my strategy when selling used phones and why I prioritize them over new is quite different than any other phone flipper I've heard. See, I've been doing this for a long time. And when I sell phones, whether I brought it from somebody off the street or somebody walked into the store to sell it to me, my main question in my head is, could I sell this to another person? Because I know if I do sell it to a buyer, they're most likely going to offer me less than somebody that actually needs this device. But then I came across people that were frustrated because they couldn't get financing through their companies like Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, Xfinity. So they were looking to find phones with me at my store that they could actually buy, put on their plan, and go about their day. That made me really think, if I can get a $200 locked phone instead of paying $350 or $400 for an unlocked one, why not do that and still sell it the same price as somebody would a unlocked? When you are buying phones, buying a device that is locked is going to be cheaper than an unlocked phone, but it's going to serve a more niched target market, like one that couldn't afford the unlocked phone in the beginning. See, here's the win and here's the play when it comes to reselling. The goal isn't to just get the unlocked phone because anybody can buy it. The goal is to actually get the locked phone where you have a strict target market that you're targeting that maybe be struggling to actually acquire that phone in the first place through their own carrier. So they are looking and scouring the net and looking on OfferUp and Facebook for somebody selling a phone that works and is compatible with their company. And guess who's going to swoop in and get them? And guess who didn't have to pay overly for the phone? You. Guess who actually is going to make higher than a 50% profit margin? Mostly you. Any iPhone that's used will always be cheaper than an iPhone that is brand new. And we're not even mentioning new phones are highly capable of being something that is going to end up bad, especially when you're meeting people and you have a sealed phone. Most sealed phones nowadays are clones. Nowadays you have to open them, which decreases the value. It's a lot more tedious. Yes, new phones can be brought and new phones can be sold, but unlocked phones are going to be higher and locked phones are still going to be high. And when it comes to used devices, so comparing a new device and a used device, there are pros and cons, but I believe that the pros for the used devices are always going to outweigh the new. So to any of my phone flippers out there, I recommend you buying used devices to start your phone flipping business or even to maintain it. Only buy new phones if you are going to buy a device on a deal and you have an ideal consumer or buyer ready to buy that device ASAP. Remember, one of our keys is that we don't want to sit on phones. We want to sell them as soon as possible because we don't allow phones to sit on our hands. We want that profit so we can go ahead and invest in our next deal. Thank you guys so much for watching. This channel is geared towards phone flipping and product flipping, and I disclose all of my secrets and skills and tips and tricks that I utilize on a daily basis to build my business so you can build yours. Make money work for you, don't work for the money. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. If you guys want any freebies, I have a bunch below where I give you guys even access to free 15-minute calls where I give you advice and also walk through different offers with you. Go click the link in the bottom and go ahead and get your free call, get your free gifts, and let's work.